MSG was born in East St. Louis, Missouri. His mother feared her infant child would be murdered by corporate executives from mainstream publishing. So she put her precious miracle...
What a beautiful baby!
I'm reading. She put her precious miracle into a reed basket and sent him floating away on the Mississippi River. Due to a freak but fortuitous change in wind occurring the next day, MSG's basket was blown back upstream where Mrs. Gregory recovered the young genius and took him home. She later said putting him in the river was probably a bad idea. Most of MSG's formative experiences growing up happened in the vicinity of Portland, Oregon, in the community known as Newburgh. He was a brilliant student, completing the required number of academic credits for graduation by the middle of his junior year. But it had already been in his freshman year that he demonstrated his talent as a writer. He was given an assignment to write an essay describing a person with whom he was acquainted. Now, at that time, MSG's stepfather had a job in the rough part of Portland, and on weekends, the young MSG would tag along and amuse himself by hanging out with the winos. This is kind of Dickens-esque, don't you think?
Right.
So he wrote a moving biography of a homeless alcoholic. The teacher gave him a bad grade and said it was because she didn't believe this person he'd written about actually existed. Instead of defending his essay, the young MSG sent it to a scholarly journal which published the story and paid him in American dollars. Okay, this slide is amusing. But the truth is, he never went back to the teacher and told how he had been validated. An interesting statement of character. As you can see, when MSG was a young teen, he looked older than his tender years. At 15, he traveled with a friend to Los Angeles to investigate the possibilities of breaking into the movie biz as a model maker and conceptual artist. He talked his way onto the set of Cosmos, where he met Carl Sagan and was offered a job, which he couldn't accept because of his age. He met a number of special effects professionals and got along with them, but left LA for home, deciding that he was going to write. He wrote his first screenplay as part of an audiovisual class his senior year. It involved a girl in her underwear, so the project got axed by the administration, which helped prepare him for what we all know about writing. While still in Portland, he worked some odd jobs. Yes, he was what they call a shoe dog. He was a projector operator and a salesman of ladies' shoes. But it was after he moved to San Diego, he was inspired by the famous Harry Chapin song, Taxi Driver, and decided that driving a cab would be a great way to get some life experience, which he did. In the 80s, the Gaslamp Quarter was a rough place, mainly bars, strip clubs, and cheap brothels. He ferried the indigent, the elderly, and the colorful, and earned a reputation as a cabbie who'd never take advantage of a client. Sometimes he had to perform a foot chase to collect a fare, and some of his clients preferred to ride in the trunk. This is true. If you buy him a drink, he might tell you a good story, which is like saying if you fall into a lake, you might get wet. Anyhow, it was while he was in his cab driver period that he met the lovely Chrissy Barnett, which accounts for one of the world's great and enduring love stories. 1987, he got entangled with Betty Juris in the Writers Haven bookstore. Betty was a selfless supporter of writers and had already established the SCWC, which had begun in 1986. Together they put out the Writers Haven Journal for Writers, and then went on to purchase for $1 the Neighborhood Reporter newspaper out of North Park. They renamed it the Reporter of San Diego, Our City, Our People. That's pretty catchy. 1988 was MSG's first involvement with the conference, where he created the conference's first logo and brochure. In time, he took over as Master of Ceremonies and eventually relieved Betty of all management duties. This year is the 32nd conference, and in San Diego, and with a total of 51 conferences in Southern California. So.